forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.
This does not show up loudly. It usually happens quietly. It doesn't come to your doorstep, knock on the door, and announce itself and let you know it's here. No, you see, because comfort slowly replaces commitment. That's what I'm talking about. You see, comfort isn't loud, but it certainly is there all the time. We stop pursuing growth. We stop asking the deeper questions. We stop maybe doing the small things that once mattered. And we don't do it out of rebellion, but out of routine. And what once received our best effort is slowly becoming the thing that receives whatever energy we have left over or I have left over. I can relate to that. I don't know about you, but you ever just thought, man, what once seemed a little easier now seems a little bit more difficult. This can happen anywhere in our marriage. It can happen in parenting. It can happen in our work spaces and environments, our health. Let's be honest, right? When comfort sets in, our health quickly declines, and then it robs us of the commitment maybe we were putting forth. And we see it evidently in simple things like weight gain and energy decreasing. But it also happens with our walk with God, because commitment isn't proven in moments of excitement, although I wish it were. But it's revealed in the daily decision that you and I make to show up again and again and again daily, even when life feels ordinary and mundane. I don't like the mundane. That's just how it is sometimes. And comfort will slowly rob you of commitment. You guys, welcome to the Kingdom Family Movement podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velasquez, and I appreciate you tuning in today. And I want to give you a simple principle, practice, and movement you can implement starting right now that will help you overcome the desire to stay in comfort land and stay committed to the things that matter most to you. Whether that's your marriage, your family, and your home, hopefully, and then your job and the different things God's maybe called you to be committed to and not let comfort rob you of it. And I want to do that through just some simple stories and things I extrapolated to help us gain some perspective and really understand that comfort is, in the context I'm using it, is certainly there to rob us of staying committed so we can have the outcomes that we desire to have in life. And I think there's so many things, but one of them was the Navy SEALs. And I like this idea, right? It's the easy day lesson is what they call it. And one of the phrases that was repeated during Navy SEAL training was a simple one. And it was this, and I quote, "The only easy day was yesterday." Now, when I hear that, I think of so many things. And I think, man, there's so much truth to that. But it was just, it's a reminder that the moment someone starts chasing comfort instead of commitment, that's when decline begins. This is what former Navy SEAL Commander Jocko Willink was talking about when he explained that the most dangerous moment in any elite team isn't during battle. And not normally could any average person say this, but I can say, I've been in battle. And when he makes this point, I agree. He says it's not during battle, it's when things start going well. You see, because, well, I'm not going to go there in my perspective and my experience, but it's not the battle, it's when things start going well. That's when people loosen standards. And that's so true, right? We skip the extra training, we cut a corner here or there, right? And we assume that yesterday's discipline will carry us through tomorrow. And I wish that was so true. In all of my humanness and the fiber of my being, I wish that was true. I wish I could work hard enough that it would carry me through tomorrow. And to a degree it does, but the reality is it won't keep me committed. Because excellence doesn't survive on yesterday's commitment. It survives on today's, the current moment's discipline. And the same thing happens in our marriage, in our parenting, and the things I listed earlier, right? And the moment we start coasting, the slow drift begins. Let me just break that down because I want to say this. The slow drift, like what does a drift mean? Right? It's kind of like if I'm a little bit off and I just keep coasting or drifting, I'm going to continually get off further and further down the road. And that's just a reality we got to understand when it comes to comfort versus commitment. I love the story of Kodak. If you haven't heard this before, and I didn't know this and I thought it was pretty fascinating, but this is a great example of the cost of comfort. For most of the 20th century, Kodak dominated photography. I didn't know that, but they were they were the industry leader. And ironically, one of Kodak's own engineers actually invented the first digital camera in 1975. I was -7 years old. You can figure that out or do the math. And it actually makes me laugh because when I think of Kodak, I think of my mom. She was certainly the user who used the wind-up disposable cameras. We were that family for sure. And I remember after getting out of basic training in the Marine Corps and having some, steady income, I thought, I'm going to go buy my mom a camera as a gift. And I went and bought her. And if you understand anything about technology and cameras, this will make you laugh maybe. I went and bought her an Olympus was the brand, and it was a 3.1 megapixel. It's so old. And it had like a tiny 1-inch LCD screen on it. It was awesome in the time. But anyways, it makes me think about that. But their own engineer actually invents the digital camera in 1975. But leadership for Kodak, they dismissed it. Why? Why would you dismiss that? And it's because digital cameras threatened their film business. See, the business that had made them comfortable and successful. So instead of, leaning in to innovation, they protected what felt safe. And comfort, in their case, replaced commitment to the future. And we all know where we're at in the digital world now. But basically what happened for Kodak is finally, after they tried to pivot, it was too late. And so in 2012, the company actually filed for bankruptcy. And listen, let's be honest, that collapse didn't happen overnight from 1975 to 2012. No, it happened slowly, quietly, through years of just choosing comfort over commitment to grow. Now, that's a stretch for me to say that, but given the context of the message I'm trying to lay down, it just points to the fact that sometimes even in the success we have, can keep us comfortable, and it keeps us not from becoming more successful, but it keeps us from pivoting to where it is maybe God's leading us. And so it happens. Commitment can get sucked dry by comfort if we're not paying attention. What about Olympic training? Olympic athletes are phenomenal to me. I mean, they're the epitome of sports sometimes in so many different ways. And not just to single out Olympic athletes, but just professional athletes in general. But Olympic athletes often talk about something people never see. And it's not the medal ceremony, it's not the national anthem, but it's the thousands of quiet mornings when they didn't feel like training, but they showed up anyways. That's humbling, right? Let's be honest. It's easy to train when I want to, but it's not easy to train when I don't. One Olympic coach said this, and I thought it was very powerful and it stuck with me, but he said, champions are built on the days they didn't feel like showing up. I'll say it again. Champions are built on the days they didn't feel like showing up. Do you ever feel like not showing up? I feel like that's daily in my life. But if I can understand that and recognize what that means, it means that there's opportunity for incredible, not just growth, but building a solid foundation for commitment and recognizing that that's just a warning, or a nudge to say, because you're not comfortable right now and you don't feel like working out, now's the time to be a champion. You see, and we don't do it because, you know what? No one sees those quiet mornings. We're not being applauded and cheered on. The world celebrates the victory moment. Let's be honest, that's culture. But victory is built through years of choosing commitment over comfort. And these same truths apply for our everyday lives when we're trying to build strong marriages, strong families, strong character, strong businesses, strong work environments. all of that stuff. I'll give you this last story and I'll land the plane with the principle, the practice, and the movement we can take when it comes to ridding ourselves of comfort and staying committed to the things God's called us to. But I am a sucker for history in general, but I certainly love the Holocaust era, not what happened, but the amount of stuff that can be extrapolated from it to grow, be motivated. There's so much there. I'm not going to get into all of it, but I loved this story because it's very sobering reminder, right? During the Holocaust, there was a German pastor. His name was Martin Niemöller. I don't know how he says it, but Martin Niemöller. And he's reflecting on how an entire society slowly lost its moral courage. And he later wrote these famous words, and I quote, "First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." See, his point was so much. It's almost haunting. It's humbling to think, right? And in the context of what I'm talking about for comfort versus commitment, it's the reminder that great collapse rarely begins with loud rebellion. No, but collapse of moral character, our moral fiber, what we believe, all of that. See, it begins with quiet comfort, the thing that kind of lulls us in and tells us it's fine, it's no big deal. That doesn't even apply to you. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. You crushed it yesterday. That'll carry you through the next 2 days. No, that's not true. I wish it were, but it's not. And again, that's how the quiet comfort starts. See, it's with small moments where people stop showing up for what they know is right. And that is not what we want. Not at the Kingdom Family Movement. I don't want that for you, your marriage, your family, your home. And so here's the principle. Here's the practice. Here's the movement we can take. The one principle is that commitment, okay, this, again, the principle we live by is commitment grows through faithful action, not fleeting motivation, because listen, feelings come and go. They rise, they fall, but commitment grows through faithful action. You know, if the life you want in your marriage, your family, your calling, your spiritual life, right, isn't built through consistent faithfulness, then it's probably because comfort is robbing you of the commitment towards it. See, scripture reminds us that in 1 Corinthians 16:14, it says, "Let all that you do be done in love." And love isn't something that we just feel. It's something we practice day after day. And you think, well, how does love apply to comfort and commitment? And how does that work? Because, now let me give you a simple example. I need to believe in the principle of it, because if I'm honest, how easy is it for me to not love someone? How easy is it for me to not want to give time and energy to a difficult situation, a person, or something God's called me to? It's easy. It's way more comfortable to just sit back and let someone else do it. But if God's calling me to love, which He calls us all to love, then I'm to do that and practice it daily and be committed to the process of loving people, not when it's easy, but when it's necessary, which is always, by the way. Okay, so again, commitment to being faithful to the action, right? Commitment grows through faithful action. And then we practice it, right? The implementation point comes at learning to ask good questions. Ask honest questions of yourself, of situations. Maybe you can learn to practice asking what area of your life matters most right now. In your marriage, maybe in your family, your home, in your workplace, personal growth and development, leadership. It could be so many things. And then ask the question, how can I better support that? How can I intentionally grow? How can I rid myself of my comfort levels and actually be committed to the processes that I know are going to help me get further down the road? Not just for climbing the ladder and getting further, but to personally grow in character so I can become a more effective person in every area of my life. So it's the implementation isn't necessarily the action, and yet it is. It's recognizing where we can become better. It's recognizing the areas in which I decide and have a better understanding that matter most. Because sometimes clarity just begins with the courage to ask better questions. And so if we take the principle and the practice, we wrap it up with the one movement, right? The movement is the thing we can actually take action on. It's taking the principle and the practice and then, again, moving. And so it could be very simple. It's choosing one action, right, that you can step into, that you're building. Maybe it's something like, I want to rid myself of the comfort of sleeping in and actually getting up. Cool. As soon as your alarm goes off, get up. Actually get out of bed and build the practice. And don't beat yourself up if you snooze one time. But listen, if that's the habit you've built, it's because you've become comfortable with it. So you've got to learn to switch your mindset. Maybe it's taking a walk, right? Maybe you're like, man, I need to get healthier. And you're so comfortable, right? Here's one for you. Maybe you're so comfortable. I've even done this. We get so comfortable with the amount of excuses we have. We all live in the same world and we see all of the same distractions. We understand we're being inundated with information, news, propaganda, all this. Guess what? That's all of us. But I can't let that become the excuse. That's a comfort level because it's easy to deflect. That's easy to say, well, blah, blah. Listen, don't. Just go take a walk, right? How hard is that? Maybe your comfort is reading posts on social media that have no benefit or value to your life or those around you. And you need to build the commitment to just scroll on by, maybe unfollow. It could be something as simple as that. Maybe it's finishing the task that you started that you've committed to doing, but the comfort has kept you from finishing it. Listen, this happens to all of us, okay? Recommitting to a goal that you've drifted from, okay? Don't wait for motivation. Commitment grows through consistent action, not occasional inspiration. If you wait for that, it'll never come. I know, I've done it. I've waited for it many a times. And a lot of the times, the truth is, it's just looking at what feels comfortable and saying, no, I got to go get this done. And as soon as I start, it's amazing. It kicks in. I start to feel more motivated, not because it showed up, it's because I created it. Because the life you want is rarely built in dramatic moments. It's just not. It's built through the quiet decisions to show up faithfully again and again and again. Today, not tomorrow. Start today. The small acts of commitment, repeated consistency is the thing that changes the direction of our lives. You guys, I appreciate you hanging in there for a little bit longer one today. And as always, if you want to do me two favors, one, okay, send this episode to someone that you think could be encouraged by it. I'd appreciate that. But if you haven't, hey, follow this podcast channel, subscribe, leave a review and a comment. It helps me grow. It helps push out the algorithm to other people who don't even know we exist. And then secondly, the other thing I'd ask is if you haven't, hey, the most important thing is that we've created here is a simple rhythm that can help us throughout our week. Right? And it's a week because the truth is we need time to build habits, and a week is not nearly long enough, but I think it's longer than the average person is used to. So it's something simple. It's the KFM 111 weekly reset email I send out every week for free with a simple, much more short, practical principle, practice, and movement you can take every single week inside your marriage, inside your family, inside your home, in your workplace. You can apply it to anywhere you are. Sign up for the free email. I'll put the link in the show notes below so you can click on it and get it. Otherwise, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Sam Velasquez with the Kingdom Family Movement Podcast, and we will see you on the other side. Peace.
God forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.